Welcome back, folks. It's 13 and a half minutes before the hour of 7 o'clock, and we continue our discussion on the budget expectations. Earlier, we heard from the business community. Now we will engage the creative sector. What is their anticipation for the 2021 budget priorities, etc.? We have Mr. Rubadiri Victor. He's the president of the Artists Coalition of Trinidad and Tobago, ACTT. Good morning, Mr. Victor.
Hi, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Morning Edition. Thanks for having me.
Well, I can imagine the list of woes that the arts, culture, and entertainment sector may be experiencing at this point in time, given all of the public health regulations and so on. Before we even talk about your budget expectations, can we at least help the public to understand how difficult life is now for the average artist?
Right. Well, over the last 10 to 15 years, the world has experienced, the entertainment world has experienced the virtualization of business. So a lot of the products that people used to sell, whether it be music, a lot of film products, a lot of those different things have moved online, especially music and a couple other things. It means that the returns on investment in terms of physical product has almost all disappeared, because once things go online, it almost becomes free because of piracy and because of the small amounts of money that you get for streaming and those kinds of things. So it means that a lot of artists' money gone back to live performances. And in this time, live performances in a social distance time are completely absent. There's no income from that. So there are massive parts of the sector that have not received any income for the last 8 months. And what we're looking at from Christmas into Carnival is, on one hand, is a performance Armageddon for a lot of people. And on another hand, for the other types of artists, is a retail Armageddon. So like a lot of retail businesses that are retail-based businesses, and those are experiencing, all retail rent-based businesses are experiencing a really difficult time. A lot of people are holding on for Christmas, thinking that if they hold on, they can earn enough income to see themselves through a couple of months. It's not going to happen. And what we are going to experience across the country is a retail Armageddon. A lot of businesses that are still around, a lot have disappeared, but are going to disappear after Carnival, after Christmas. And with Carnival, right afterwards, Carnival brings in $650 million in foreign exchange to the country. There are 55,000 visitors that come here. There's not going to be a normal Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago. There's more than $1.5 to $2 billion worth of economic activity that happens at that time. That's also going to disappear. Tens of thousands of people are normally employed during that period. That's not going to happen with the disappearance of a conventional Carnival.
Are you saying, Rubadiri, let me ask you this. Are you saying then that your expectation is that we may not have Carnival in 2021? I see that Rio has cancelled their Carnival.
There's not going to be a physical Carnival, not in the way that we expect. There can be a streaming Carnival. And that might be even be more profitable and, I don't know about profitable, but it might be as profitable and as powerful and more powerful for brand Trinidad and Tobago and for our products than the normal Carnival, because we would lose 55,000 physical visitors, but we can probably go after 55 million pairs of eyes. And that is what we need to be doing. So our budget expectations, the first one is that government comes on board our retooling of the sector and the retooling of things towards this virtual carnival that can happen, where we can target the 300 Trinidad-style carnivals who are all looking to us to see what we are going to do, as well as all our niche metropolitan and regional and that kind of stuff audiences who will be tuning in. And we shouldn't just see this 2021 carnival as just carnival business as usual, just on screen. We should actually look at it as the launch of Trinidad and Tobago's virtual economy, not just for the creative sector, but for the whole business sector. There's no other time that we can get 55 million ears, millions of eyes on Trinidad brand, Trinidad and Tobago. And we should be using the next 5 months to tool our businesses, tool the creative sector towards that 48 hours of streaming for Carnival 2021. And that's one of the big things that we want to put in place. But that requires a lot of homework and planning in terms of digital architecture, business architecture, banking architecture. A lot of things have to be in place for that to make complete and utter sense.
Well, apart from the time constraint, I mean, we're talking a couple of months, and there's a lot of infrastructural issues that may have to be addressed, and not only addressed, but also tested. But essentially, though, tell us a bit about the content that you expect that can be streamed to these viewers.
Well, the thing is that first of all, the sector will have to decide what they want to keep from the traditional carnival and what will be programmed. But the thing is that this is going to be 48 hours of televised packaging. This is curated, proper televised packaging that will feature all the things that Trinidad do creatively, meaning all the traditional carnival stuff packaged in telegenic ways, but as well as larger things as like our film sector and all those other kinds of things, our animation sector, everything that we have industrial ambitions on and that will have products for an international market. Those are the things. And as I said, this is for the manufacturing sector, all the other sectors of society, or oil and gas, all of these things can use that 48 hours when we're going to have, especially if we use our diaspora celebrities like the Nicki Minaj's and the Winston Dukes and the Heather Headleys and all these people, you know, if we use them well and wisely, we can get the eyes of the world tuned into Trinidad and Tobago for those 40 hours. And we have to be ready with product and a digital architecture to meet that. That's one of the big things that we want to get placed.
Do you expect, Rubadiri, do you expect the NCC, as it is currently structured, to take the lead on this streaming of content for a 48-hour period? Do you see that organization being the best advocate for this change in the business model for this cultural festival called Carnival?
It definitely will have to be a partner, but it can't be the only part. This is a telegenic event. This is a televised event that has a lot of technical, business, technological, and all those other components. So the partners in that will have to be experts on that. Now, I know there are stakeholders who are already running beta testing on all the different things that are necessary for those things. That stuff is happening. People are doing that work. People are also doing work in terms of the creation of the kinds of curation of the packaging of different kinds of parts of the industry. So those things are happening. People are working towards those things. So yes, the NCC and all its member groups and all those things will necessarily has to be a partner, because the traditional carnival is the center of this package, but it is a specific type of product which involves a whole series of other partners and that kind of stuff. But I want to say this is not the only thing that artists are battling for in the budget. There are a whole stream of other things, because we're talking about another year. 8 months already have passed without people earning income, and we're looking at another 8 safely, right? We could say almost like a year and a half to 2 years. And that is, a lot of these are working class people and they're working class communities, especially during this carnival period. We are going to see and be witnessing things like, we're going to witness mental health issues. We're going to witness crime. We're going to witness suicides. We're going to witness all kinds of things, because this is a very, 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 very difficult period.
Mr. Victor, let me ask you this. I know that the Minister of Finance has talked over the past couple of months. He has initiated grants of many kinds. One of those grants should have been made available to the creative sector. What has been the experience of artists in terms of accessing those grants?
The first set of grants that were done for general people who had employment problems and those kinds of things, most of the sector could not access those grants because of the things that the stipulations and protocols that it had in place and stuff, letters from employers, those different kinds of things and stuff. there's no such thing in a gig-based economy for artists. So that a lot of the things that normal people got, it bypassed artists completely. They had specific grants for artists, the $5,000 grants and those kinds of things. I myself applied for it. I know a number of people who applied for it. I would say from the people I've spoken to, less than 5% of the people who have applied for that have either received replies or received that monies. And also from the people who received money, who received grants from before, people have not received those monies yet from the first set of things that were done yet. So the rollout, there is still the rollout and those kinds of things. We understand, we know how difficult this thing is as a bureaucratic exercise for the state. But I'm just saying that all these things are dire, and in terms of the population of artists and the amount of people that are qualifying for these things, and at the rate of rollout is very, very low. So that a lot, it's a dire thing. People have rents to pay. People have children to laptops, all kinds of different kinds of things. People have to eat. People have medical expenses. And I said, most of the sector working class people, and it's going to get really, 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 really bad. I mean, we witnessed just before the election an explosion in working class communities, urban working class communities, which kind of preempted the election. We are going to see more dramatic stuff going to happen if this budget is not sensitive and not innovative. It can't be business as usual.
Mr. Victor, I thank you so much for your advocacy on behalf of the artists of Trinidad and Tobago, and I hope that you'll...
Before I go, I just want to say one thing. One of the big things that we're asking for is that we are asking, and I've already spoken to Minister Young about this, the artists creative sector gets the lowest subvention in the budget. National security and education get the highest, 20 times the amount of the creative sector, even though the creative sector is the second largest industry on planet Earth. We have asked Minister Young and possibly education to migrate part of their budget as an anti-crime and crime prevention stuff out of national security into the creative sector, anywhere from between $300 million to $500 million, which represents a small part of their budget. But for us, that dwarfs even our collective budgets.
I hear you on that. Money, I hear you on that.
We can get over 25,000 people employed.
Yes, sir.
And things that can generate up to $1 billion worth of forex for the country.
Mr. Victor, I hear you on that, and I hope that you'll be able to join us to discuss this when the budget is actually read. But there's a lot to be discussed. Folks, we're going to run to the 7 o'clock news, and when we come back, there's a lot more in store.